It's been announced that Hamas has accepted a peace deal, a ceasefire deal. Anyway, but I guess we're waiting for Israel. I don't know. Did Charlie Brown eventually learn not to kick the ball while Lucy was holding it? Trusting Israel to keep their promise about a ceasefire is like trusting them about anything else. I wouldn't trust a BJ from an intern in the White House, but then again, I didn't marry Hillary Clinton, so my mind is intact. Anyway, let's listen to here's the announcement. This is the guy from Qatar.
We have a positive response from Hamas. That positive response, according to what we know, is almost all that was agreed before by Israel in previous iterations of these talks. We are yet to receive a response from the Israeli side, so we cannot make any claims that a breakthrough has been made. But we do believe it is a positive point when we have a positive response from Hamas over the agreement that was there on the table since a couple of months ago. It is within the confines of the Witkoff plan, which you mentioned, and you're absolutely right. It's a continuation of that process. Obviously, in the details, where the devil lies, there are a lot of things that have been discussed, but it's almost identical to that plan.
So they got a plan that Israel had agreed to previously, and Hamas has accepted those terms. And what are the terms? It said that it had accepted the ceasefire proposal presented by Qatar and Egypt, which comes as Israel is planning a massive escalation that involves forcibly displacing more than 1 million Palestinians from Gaza City and sending them south. Hamas, along with the Palestinian factions, relayed their acceptance of the proposal put forward yesterday by the Qatari and Egyptian mediators, Hamas said in a statement. According to the Arab diplomat speaking to the Times of Israel, the deal would involve the release of 10 living Israeli captives and a 60-day truce, during which the two sides would be expected to engage in negotiations for a long-term ceasefire. The Times report said that Israel has received the proposal, but Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu appeared to dismiss the news and signaled he still planned to go ahead with the escalation in Gaza because Benjamin Netanyahu does not want an end to this war. And it's not a war. It's a genocide or an ethnic cleansing, either which one sounds a little nicer. And this has been the plan all along. He doesn't want those hostages back because if all the hostages got released, he would lose his pretext to keep going in, slaughtering Palestinians and taking over more land in Gaza. So that's other Israeli officials outright. I mean, of course, Israel hasn't accepted this yet because it's counter to everything that they want. Could that be why they haven't accepted it? If they already wanted those hostages back, those hostages would already be back. But they do not want those hostages back. The hostages are only useful in print, not in person. They say what they saw when they get the mic. They can't have that. So they don't want the hostages getting released saying, yeah, we were treated well. Everything's great. We should end this war. They don't want that. Other Israeli officials rejected the idea of a deal with Hamas. We only fight to win, and under no circumstances to stop halfway with a partial deal that abandons half of the hostages and could lead to ending the war in defeat, said Israeli Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich. Israel Defense Minister Israel Katz said that, he's got a great deli, that Hamas was willing to discuss a deal for the release of hostages, only because of its fear that we seriously intend to conquer Gaza City. Israeli National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir wrote on Twitter that Netanyahu has no mandate to pursue a partial deal. President Trump has backed Israel's plans to escalate its genocidal war, claiming in a post on Truth Social on Monday that the only way to free the Israeli captives in Gaza is if Hamas is confronted and destroyed. And when he says that Hamas has to be confronted and destroyed, they mean everyone everywhere. Right? Because anyone who's against this war, they consider Hamas. They're just starting out locally before they spread to everywhere else in the world, which they already planned to do. They've always planned that. That was always their plan. Here's Trump's Truth Social post. We will only see the return of the remaining hostages when Hamas is confronted and destroyed. The sooner this takes place, the better the chance of success will be. Remember, there's just as many Hamas today as there was when the war started. You know why? Because when you kill more Palestinians, it radicalizes more Palestinians, and they want to fight against you, so they join Hamas. Remember, I was the one who negotiated and got hundreds of hostages freed and released into Israel and America. I was the one who ended 6 wars in just 6 months. Really? What? Which war? I know he did the Armenia, Azerbaijan. He doesn't get credit for that. I give him credit for that. I don't know of another war they stopped. Do you know of another war they stopped? I don't know. Was it the Syrian war because they let Al Qaeda take over? You mean like that? I was the one who ended 6 wars. I was the one who obliterated Iran's nuclear facilities. Play to win or don't play at all. That's what Trump had to say. In light of the news of Hamas accepting a ceasefire proposal, the family members of Israelis held in Gaza are ramping up their pressure on Netanyahu to reach a deal. Remember, like almost over 2 million people just got done protesting Netanyahu, protesting for him to end this war and get those hostages back. They know he doesn't want them back. They know it's Netanyahu that's standing in the way of getting the hostages released and ending the war. They know this. It was 500,000 people alone in Tel Aviv protested him. There have been significant protests. That's it. That's what I'm talking about right there. You see it. I'm talking about it. And so we demand that Netanyahu immediately conduct continuous negotiations for the release of all the hostages from Gaza, said Hostage and Missing Families Forum. The people stand with the hostages. The people will bring the hostages back. The people will not allow the prime minister to sabotage another deal. We'll talk about working with anybody for good, because those Israeli people, that's the perfect example of having to work with people who are doing everything for the wrong reason, but they're still accidentally doing the right thing. So I'm on board with the Israeli people on this. Breaking, Israel says it has no choice but to increase its bombing of Gaza City after disturbing reports that Hamas has agreed to the latest ceasefire proposal. Yep. That's pretty much how they roll. Here's some of the reaction following Hamas's approval of the ceasefire framework. Here we go.
Well, let's get into what exactly is on the table. A source has told Al Jazeera that this proposal would be a 60-day pause in the fighting that would eventually lead to talks for ending the war. And as part of this deal, half of the Israeli captives still held in Gaza would be exchanged for Palestinian prisoners. Unclear, though, just how many Palestinian detainees would be released as part of the deal. But it's worth mentioning that the previous agreement that was on the table, the so-called Witkoff proposal, was something the Israelis had said they had previously said yes to. However, there was no indication from the Israelis that they were willing to end the war, and that stance has only hardened in recent weeks and months. But we have just heard from Israel's defense minister, who said that Hamas is willing to come back to the negotiating table only because Israel has now greenlit the plans to occupy and take over Gaza City in the north. So there are a lot of moving parts here, but mediators have been scrambling for months to try and get both sides to agree to some sort of framework where ultimately there could be this temporary pause in the fighting. But as part of that pause, on day one, there would be talks for ultimately ending the fighting in Gaza.
Hey, how about this? How about Israelis? How about Israel releases all the Palestinian children you have in Israel prisons? I mean, if you support the imprisonment of children, you're not just a piece of shit. You are a shit sculpture. By the way, here are the 6 wars that Trump's claiming he ended. The Azerbaijan and Armenia, which I gave him credit for. He did that. It was actually a great piece of negotiation that they did. Cambodia and Thailand, he's taken credit for that. Israel and Iran. Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo, India and Pakistan. Oh, yeah, I forgot about India and Pakistan. Yeah. Egypt and Ethiopia. Didn't hear about that. And Serbia and Kosovo. Didn't hear about that.
What?
Yeah. So he says he's ended 6 wars already. So
maybe he has, just not the ones I heard of.
Yeah. Israel, guess what? Israel military is calling up 60,000 reservists as it prepares for Gaza City ethnic cleansing campaign. So they're ramping up the war. Nothing's going to stop them. Not peace negotiations, not humanitarian efforts. They're like a harvesting machine. They do not recognize you. So that's it. So Hamas again wants to give up half the hostages. They're ready to accept the peace deal and a ceasefire for 60 days that Israel has already agreed to. But guess what? Now that Israel doesn't want that, no, we're going into Gaza City. We're ethnically cleansing it. They're taking over Gaza and the West Bank, ladies and gentlemen. This is not stopping unless an international force gets together and militarily invades Gaza to stop Israel from doing this. Nothing is going to stop them. Hamas can release all the hostages right now. In fact, they should, just to call their bluff. They should, just to go, what? They're just giving them a reason. So why does, if I was advising Hamas, which obviously I'm not, I would say, go ahead, release them all. What more could they do to you? They're already doing it. Your hostages are zero leverage.
Well, also the hostages don't want to be killed themselves because, as you know, Israel kills their own hostages.
That's right. So,
or they beat them into silence if they weren't mistreated enough.
What are they getting out of the hostages? They're really not, because Netanyahu doesn't want them back. So do the thing Netanyahu doesn't want. Give them the hostages back. So now he doesn't have any pretext for doing any of the things he's doing. Take it away. I do think this is a bit of a blunder on Hamas's part, but you know, what do I know? Okay. You can see what I know comedically in Rutherford, New Jersey, Edmonton, Calgary, Vancouver, Appleton, Wisconsin, Rosemont, Illinois, Chicago, Louisville, Fort Wayne, Indiana, Hermosa Beach, Sacramento, and San Francisco. You can come see what I have to say about all this stuff in comedically. Comedically. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. Well, good for Hamas, bad for Israel. Israel's not going to accept this. They're going to keep going. They got 60,000 reservists. They're taking over. It's all over. Look up the Greater Israel Project, because that's what this is. Hey, the system isn't broken. It's rigged. And if you're buried in debt, that's exactly how they want it. Big banks profit when you're desperate. Creditors win when you lose, but you don't have to play their games. PDS Debt helps you take back control. They've helped hundreds of thousands break free from credit cards, loans, and high-interest traps. It's your money. It's your future. It's time to fight for both. PDS Debt goes beyond the numbers to understand your unique financial situation and craft a personalized plan designed just for you. There's no minimum credit score required. They're here to help you save money, pay off your debt faster, and start putting money back where it belongs in your pocket. PDS Debt is an A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, boasts thousands of 5-star reviews on Google, and holds a 5-star rating on Trustpilot. Why? Because PDS has helped hundreds of thousands of people get out of debt. If I had needed this product, it's what I'd use. You're 30 seconds away from being debt-free. Get your free assessment and find the best option for you right now at pdsdebt.com/Dore. That's pdsdebt.com/DORE. pds.com/Dore. Come see me on tour in Edmonton, Calgary, Vancouver, Appleton, Wisconsin, Rosemont, Illinois, Chicago, Louisville, Fort Wayne, Indiana, Hermosa Beach, Sacramento, San Francisco. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets.